Jonathan Lee Riches Investigates. I am in San Diego. There is a secret migrant facility here on San Diego School District property. Right here, Polk and 41st Street. And will not answer any questions about what is going on. Check this out.
Hey, remove this one. What's wrong?
I'm media.
So you media, you put on my face.
What's going on?
Don't put on my face.
See what's going on. This is on University Avenue in San Diego. And it looks like a group of migrants are loading the bus. Somebody's coming out here right now. What's going on?
But we're not going to answer any questions. Please
Why?
stay on the
What's
public.
going on? Where's the owner?
Couple guards out here. There's a gentleman that's refusing to leave.
Not refusing.
I do not want to have to call the police. Please
What is
exit.
going on out here? We're gonna watch this operation in real time, folks. You won't get this anywhere else. This is like ground zero of this action. Military vehicles down there by the Rio Grande.
This is the emergency broadcast system. Citizens are advised to take the following steps.
Find us, armoroftruth.net.
25 other states have signed a letter pledging to support Texas as it installs razor wire on the southern border, with some sending members of their own state and National Guard to assist with the...
Idaho stands proudly in solidarity with Texas in their efforts to protect America.
More National Guard in the van. Look at that. They're all going in. That whole van was full of National Guard. This hotel's closed. Every single car here is for law enforcement. When we were at different locations and some hotels were closed to the public because they were hosting migrants and people that crossed into the United States illegally. We have a hotel called the Yuma Cabana Motel. And this hotel is closed to the general public. No vacancy at this hotel, but it is hosting migrants that are in the United States illegally.
Look at all those women and children.
And it's closed in. They're getting some sort of meals or something at this location. What in the world is going on? More people are coming out to get meals. Now this hotel is closed. Closed. It says no vacancy. What's going on here in Yuma, Arizona? This situation is different. This hotel seems like it's closed to the public for law enforcement.
Why are you guys making it easier for people to enter the country illegally?
Why do you think we are?
Live. This happens every single day.
There's the van. Look. Now watch. We're gonna watch this operation in real time, folks. You won't get this anywhere else. Another one. Border Patrol sitting here watching and waiting. We're gonna see this in real time, folks. Watch this in real time.
Now check this out. So he's gonna do is he's gonna let him out, and he's gonna line them up. He's gonna take a picture of everyone, and then take a picture of himself, and that's gonna be his proof that he got his load to the wall.
Proof of life.
Right, and through the wall, and then he gets paid.
Here comes another one. Large man. Look at all this. Look at all this. Look at all this, folks. Look at all this. Look at all this. Here it is, folks. Real time. Live. JLR Investigates.
Look at that. How about that, folks? There's your tax dollars at work. The reason it's so dangerous, why it's so abhorrent that they're funding this, is because it does cause a spike in human trafficking. It causes a spike in rapes, murders. It's crime. It's criminal. Look at that.
This is what's going on. This is what's going on in Akumba. Akumba Springs. At the end of this mountain here, there is a hole in the wall, or the wall ends, and numerous times during the day, SUVs will come up and migrants will come into the United States illegally from this location. Border Patrol here wants this talked about. I'm told by Border Patrol here that this happens every single day here, in the morning at least, and then it goes around the clock. I mean, there's also there's one that way a little bit to the east, and there's one to the west, the same situation. There's a hole or something in the wall.
From San Diego to Brownsville, Texas. 3,000 miles. So it's very easy for this to go down.
Jonathan Lee Riches investigates. I am in San Diego. There is a secret migrant facility here on San Diego School District property. I just had an encounter with someone who claims that I'm not allowed to be on the property over there and will not answer any questions about what is going on. Hey, how are you? Media. What's going on?
What?
Yeah, apparently the community there is very unhappy about all the mesh over the gates. They feel like it's secretive.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want you to see it.
Remove this one. What's wrong?
I'm media.
So you media, you put on my face.
What's going on?
Don't put on my face.
Put what on your face?
Huh?
Put what in your face? Media, what's going on? What's this place?
This is America, my friends.
No,
America.
me, I want to go out. You recording? Huh?
Yeah, I am.
How can you recording somebody in the face? Because you're a media. You better get to come out my face.
Why's that? I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say?
Could just turn around.
Could just be nice and pleasant.
So what's going on in here? There are people that are in here country illegally?
Hey, bro.
Yes, sir.
Hey, bro. Come in close, right?
See what's going on. This is on University Avenue in San Diego. It looks like a group of migrants are loading the bus. Somebody's coming out here right now.
Are we ready to send you a protocol?
Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
This is all private property.
Where, right here?
This is all the way up these buildings. This whole cul-de-sac is all private.
Who owns the property?
Right now, can you please step back?
I'm asking. I'd like to speak.
We can talk as we walk
Sure.
this way, please. Thank you.
So, who owns the property?
Right now, it is given to a private organization.
Is it true the school district owns this property?
Not currently.
All right. Are you the owner?
I'm not the owner.
All right. So what are you asking? You're not. So you're not the owner, but you're asking me to leave.
This private property, yes.
All right. Where's the owner? Tell the owner I want to talk to him.
Sir, please
tell
leave
the owner I would like to talk to
Sir,
him.
please leave
Sir,
property.
tell the owner I'd like to speak to
Sir,
them.
right now you're trespassing. Please leave.
I'd like to speak to the owner. You're not the owner.
The owner is busy.
Okay. I'd like to speak to the owner or call the cops.
Okay,
I'd
sir,
like to speak
please
to.
leave the property.
I'd like to speak to the owner. Where's the
a
owner?
couple guards out here. There's a gentleman that's refusing to leave.
Not refusing. Not refusing. I'd like to speak to the owner. I'd like to speak to the owner.
I will call the owner once we're on public property.
What?
I will call the owner.
Who owns this property?
Once we're on public property.
Is this a sidewalk?
Yes.
Is this a public sidewalk?
No, it is not.
It's not. So who owns the property?
I will talk to you over here, sir. Thank you.
So what's going on at this facility? So what is here? I am media. What's going on?
I understand your media, sir, and I respect what you're doing.
What's going on?
But we're not going to answer any questions. Please
Why?
stay on
But
the
what's
public.
going on? There's
Please stay on the
buses
public.
coming in and out of this place
Please stay
like
on-
24/7.
Please stay on the public sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
This is all public here.
Who owns the
This
property?
is still private here with the gates closed.
I understand that.
Thank
Who
you.
owns the property?
Thank you, sir, for understanding.
Who owns the property? Can you please get the owner of the property so I can speak to
Sir,
the owner?
please get back on the public sidewalk.
You don't own this property. You don't own
This
it.
is private.
Okay, so let me speak to the owner. I'm not refusing.
I will get the owner to the
Why?
public, or
Why?
we're going to have to call the police. I don't want to do that.
Why would you call the
Respect,
police?
this is private property. Please exit. I do not want to have to call the police. Please
What is
exit.
going on out here?
This is private. Please step back to public.
What's going on out here?
Please step back to public.
What's going on out here?
Please step back to public.
What is going on
Please
out
step
here?
back to public. Thank you, sir.
So who owns this property? I don't
If you
understand.
want to get more information, I'll go get you some information.
Please.
Doesn't this remind you of Maui?
Yeah,
happened
that's a
in
good
Maui?
point. Yeah.
If I can't get any, I'll still come out and try
You're
to
not
find
allowed to know.
Thank
You're
you.
not allowed.
So let's get a look at what one of these facilities looks like. When
From the drone shot.
right, this is Tucson, Arizona, a similar facility, and you can tell these are all temporary buildings, and they are. This is what forward bases in like in Afghanistan looks like. Something like this. Yeah. This is a migrant processing facility, and they're everywhere. And you know that this is a military-like operation because look at the order. Look at the way it's run. Back in 2015, Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel flung the doors wide open to a huge wave of refugees and migrants from the war-ravaged Middle East. Many ordinary Germans were eager to show hospitality back then, as for many people elsewhere in Europe. But by the end of that year, nearly 1 million refugees had entered Germany alone, and the public welcome had turned cold. Chancellor Merkel's decision came to be widely unpopular with Germans and the vast majority of Europeans. A year after the rapid influx of refugees began, Pew Research found that 59% of Europeans thought immigrants were imposing a burden on their country, while only a third said that immigrants made their country a better place to live. In Greece, 63% said that immigrants made things worse, as did 53% in Italy. In 2018, Pew found 70% of Italians, almost 60% of Germans, half of Swedes, and 40% of the French and British citizens wanting either fewer or no new immigrants. Barely 10% wanted to continue. In the following years, Merkel's decision to set out the welcome wagon on virtually all European countries included such progressive ones as the Netherlands, France, Denmark, Norway, and Germany itself. And now they've all tightened their immigration controls.
The Inflation Reduction Act is funding these border entries to have them overhauled and to have them brought up to speed and up to par, if you will, to the standards of their stakeholders. Okay, so again, this is San Luis, Arizona border port of entry. The United States has 167 land ports of entry, also known as border stations, of course. These facilities control entry into or departure from the U.S. for persons or materials. So through the bipartisan infrastructure law, through the Inflation Reduction Act, they are modernizing 20 land ports of entry along the northern border and 6 land ports of entry along the southern border. So of the 21 paving projects, so paving the roads, 6 are on the northern border and 15 are on the southern border. And as you read into this as well, it points out that all lease purchases are on the southern border. So the modernized port of entry stations that we're looking at here, this is one of them that you see right here, will benefit the supply chain, labor market, okay, people coming in, labor market, security, climate change resilience, human experience, community livability, and, wait for it, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. So, boom. So you want to think about corporate governance. You want to think about stakeholders. You want to think about ESG and SDG approved. This is the Inflation Reduction Act funding this overhauling on the northern and southern borders of the United States and making them like state-of-the-art facilities and basically setting up like what will work in tandem with the Internet of Things, surveillance, track and trace, state-of-the-art, and of course it has to be sustainable and climate friendly.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere this has happened, even in Sweden, where the citizens have long prided themselves on tolerance, there's widespread anger about rising crime and unprecedented levels of social friction in a formerly homogenous country. Now, today it's anathema to desire a homogenous country, right? You're a racist if you say something like that. The media and academia tend to promote this idea of erasing identities, at least for the native population, right? See, there's the point. Somebody's losing here, and it's always the native population. Elite disdain for traditions of country, religion, and family tends to exacerbate class conflict. So replacement migration, definition by the United Nations Population Division, replacement migration refers to the international migration that would be needed to offset population declines in a target country. You can see there on your screen. Replacement migration is a theory of planned migration. It is specifically to achieve a particular objective. Could be demographic, economic, or social. And it always moves, it flows in one direction. Weaker nations or regions replace the population of a developed nation. Now, so they said, can we track where those phones go? And of course you can track them. That's the whole point to have in the phone, right? Well, the Heritage Foundation looked at non-governmental organizations and their role in the unprecedented mass migration of illegals into the interior of the U.S. There is a look at where they go. An example of how surveillance has worked to our advantage for once. All the way down.
Keep in mind the U.S. Customs Border Protection mobile app, that CPB mobile app, has been in the news this week because TSA, the scandal with TSA, that you can use the app to then use it to fly domestically, and you don't need to have a photograph.
Yeah, so they can just move around the country. Wouldn't that be really handy if you were a terrorist?
Wait, if you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're gonna know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
This is monthly unlawful entry encounters. Look how it just all of a sudden skyrocketed. When Biden took off. So come on, folks. Do we know what's going on yet? Just to show you, the World Economic Forum is talking about it. It's time to rethink migration, right? How can we get rich off this? The working age population in high income and many middle income countries is shrinking. Again, folks, do they just tell us what's convenient? All they ever say is how, we're going to run out of food and we're going to run out and water and right now it's we got
to scramble. We got to bring more people in.
It's time to rethink migration over much of the world. Birth rates are plunging and populations are aging. This means that there will be fewer workers to support older people in growth. And this means that most countries will increasingly need to rely on migration. Really? Well, that would be fine if people just decide to migrate. But that's not really what's happening now, is it? Listen to this. Making the most of migration. These are businessmen, folks. It's the World Economic Forum. They're there to figure out how to profit. Harnessing the power of migration. Strategic plan results in architecture.
AKA culture jamming and disrupting.
Yeah. Facilitating pathways for regular migration. That means to keep it happening. We have to make sure that it happens. It keeps going all the time. That is exactly how the Roman Empire was not really conquered, just replaced. Just completely replaced. It didn't really fall. It was just replaced.
Immediately after migrants enter the camp, they are processed by Panamanian authorities and catered to by various international government and non-government organizations. A few on the scene include OIM, Red Cross, UNICEF, HIAS, European Union, Doctors Without Borders, UNHCR, and the Norwegian Refugee Council, who offer migrants aid and instructions on how to get to the United States. Migrants receive various maps detailing exactly how to trek to the U.S. border. This map, displayed in a highest care facility, shows the migrant path across Panama and Costa Rica. In this footage, a highest worker can be seen explaining exactly how to cross Panama.
¿Cuánto es el costo de ese bus? Ese bus le va a cobrar $40. ¿Cuánto tiempo va a demorar ese bus? Ese bus demora 14 horas aproximadamente. 100 en la noche ustedes van a hacer transbordo en Ciudad de Panamá.
A more comprehensive map is distributed by the Red Cross. This map not only shows multiple migration routes to the United States, but also includes rest stops across Central America and Mexico. A similar map is handed out by Médicos Sin Fronteras, also known as Doctors Without Borders. Perhaps the most striking form of this aid is a bag which we call a rape kit. It is handed out by the OIM in Colombia before migrants trek through the Darien Gap. The kit, which contains condoms and morning after pills, allows migrants to get raped more safely in the jungle. Why are all these groups encouraging migrants and aiding them on this deadly journey? Why is this happening on an organized industrial scale? And why does the US border remain wide open? In September 2015, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The agenda provides a quote-unquote blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future. At its heart are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Agenda 2030 outlines a blueprint for world socialism, stating that we are embarking on a collective journey to build a world free of poverty, hunger, disease, and want. In a related paper by the IOM titled Migration and the 2030 Agenda, a clear plan for mass migration of people is presented. The report begins by stating, the 2030 Agenda recognizes migration as a core development consideration, which marks the first time migration is integrated explicitly into the Global Development Agenda, and further states, quote, it is possible to link migration to every goal in the 2030 Agenda. Shockingly, the report refers to migrant men, women, and children as agents of development. Finally, the report states that we should not focus efforts on trying to stop migration, facilitating, not restricting. Migration is the priority. It is clear that this illegal migration is indeed being facilitated and encouraged. For example, UNICEF, also known as the United Nations Children's Fund, hands out these care packages at Panamanian migration camps. Notice the subtle messaging on the bag that reads, "Trust yourself, you can," encouraging the migrants to continue on their journey. On the back of a Red Cross map, information is given about the use of freight trains for transportation. Rather than denouncing the dangerous form of transportation, migrants are told to remain seated and look out for any branches, electrical cables, or tunnels. Perhaps the most alarming aspect of the situation is the clear national security threat at hand. Many of those headed to the United States are military-aged males. There are also large groups of Chinese nationals passing through these camps on a daily basis. It is possible, and indeed likely, that many of the Chinese coming to the United States are either beholden to or working for the CCP. While it is likely that many of these migrants are good people, there's no doubt that these groups serve as camouflage for spies, criminals, and other nefarious actors seeking to penetrate our borders undetected. Powerful organizations, thousands of miles away, are facilitating the collapse of the U.S. southern border. Among many consequences of this, one will be permanent political demographic change. Most of these migrants are loyal to the Democratic Party due to their immigration and open border policies. Allow this to go on for long enough, and the United States will be a country dominated by one-party rule. If the American people don't act soon, the United States as we know it will be gone forever.
I'll be candid here because I think I've been invited here to be candid. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. just traveled to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change. The solutions, the average person know, cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. The fourth, China. The number one adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why? Not because of retribution, not because he's a dictator, but because he has the power of the American people behind him. Let me just correct the slight assertion you made there. We want Ukraine to win. We want to see Ukraine win with a lot more help from European allies. I think the United States has a role. Heritage has been clear about this for 2 years now, that there is a world in which we support military aid for Ukraine. Our first obligation in foreign policy is to look at it through the lens of what's best for the American citizen. Joe Biden has done a god-awful job in articulating what that is. The kind of person who will come into the next conservative administration is going to be governed by one principle, and that is destroying the grasp that political elites and unelected technocrats have over the average person. And if I may, I will be candid and say that the agenda that every single member of the administration needs to have is to compile a list of everything that's ever been proposed at the World Economic Forum and object all of them wholesale.
This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Citizens are advised to take the following steps.
Find us, armoroftruth.net.